Hi, it's Stephana Johnson here, and I'd like to welcome you to Stephana Speaks. This is a new year and new things happening in the Stephana Johnson world. I'm deciding to do a few more of these hangouts, and I thought I'd come on today and talk about this concept around never let them see you sweat. It came up in a workshop that I was doing with some women executives and entrepreneurs, and we were basically training to do presentations, so preparing to do our presentations and getting up on stage and going through the presentations. And one of the things that one lady was asking is, how do you get over the sweat when you go up on stage and you're drenched? And one of the women pulled out of her purse her heavy duty antiperspirant, and we were just getting a kick out of all of this. And being with this history of acting and having so much theater in the background and being in front of the camera, it came to me that how do I handle it? How do I handle this sweating? And the first thing I thought of was, well, it hasn't happened in so long, or the truth is I haven't been aware of it as a problem for so long that it was hard for me to really kind of to grasp. So I was bringing this idea back around to myself and going, okay, I do remember when it was so debilitating that I could not actually remember, like I would black out for the entire time that I was on stage because I had so much fear and anxiety. And the sweating, and so I was trying to understand and have some empathy and really fully get like, okay, that's right, I do remember all of that. And so my tips here are this, because the first thing is, if you will not speak because you're afraid you're going to sweat, or because you're going to you feel like you're going to mess up or something, and that stops you from actually speaking up and getting out there and talking, then I mean, for me, this is what I do as my job. I'm here to empower women entrepreneurs to get out there, put themselves out there, and present their message passionately and in a way that grows their business, right? So I'm seeing how I can break it down to, one, letting them know I fully understand, and then two, giving them the steps that they can actually implement. So there's the mechanical steps of, well, first of all, if you're up on stage and there's tons of hot lights on you and the room is hot and there's no circulation, well, then there's the physical aspect of your body. It's going to perspire because it's uncomfortable, and it's going to perspire in order to keep you from passing out. So that's one thing. And if we can handle that, then great. If we can handle putting on clothing, you're not going to wear a wool jacket or a wool suit if you're in a room that's stifling. So you wear different clothes, and so you learn to adjust that. And then the next step was going through. So the gal kept saying, "Oh, I use this specific deodorant, and that stops it." And then she said, well, it just doesn't fully handle it for me. And so I said, okay, well, that's that. So here's the difference. And it's a great analogy as far as trying to mask something and make it not, just to cover up or put a Band-Aid on it and not get to the source of it. And if you know me, I'm all about getting to the source of the problem and finding out why and uncovering it so that we can really break through instead of trying to go around and over and above it. We break through. I'm all about that, right? So this idea of having to mask that with a deodorant, I get that. I mean, that's one thing, but that's not my solution. That's not what I do. And so as I continue to describe, I'm describing how we can, one, if I go on stage and I am not prepared, I don't know my script, I'm kind of still wishy-washy on those lines, then I'm stuck in my head. And as a result of being stuck in my head, I'm very attached to the mechanics of the ego, trying to control things and to control the outcome and control the results. And this is a lot of what brings on this kind of lower brain fight or flight mechanism where the body starts to sweat, from the anxiety part of it. And that can also be handled and addressed by one, fully being prepared. So taking the time to do your practicing and your steps and have your script and know what you're going to say and know how you're going to say it and be done with that. And there is that time for practicing and being prepared. So there's your preparation stage, your rehearsal stage, and dealing with all the mechanics of what is required of you so that your attention is not fixed on that and trying to solve everything. And besides that, it takes you away from the connection with your audience. And that invites a whole other ball of stuff that's not fun. And as I'm describing this, they're starting to get this. And we went from, in the beginning, the morning through practicing, and the next day we were all to do our presentations, which were between, some were doing 6-minute presentations all the way up to like 24-minute presentations. And the shift was significant when I addressed this topic. And that is speaking from your heart rather than from your head. So let's say you've handled all the mechanics. Let's say you've handled all of this practicing and the preparation and all of that's done. Check, check. But what happens then when you get on stage and you're still trying to focus on the result? The what? What is it that you want your peers to see and hear and feel and take away? And once again, that still is working from the control of trying to control what other people are going to think or feel. And we can never, ever do that, no matter what we perform. And it's amazing to me that after 20 some years of performing, that one performance one evening where I'm feeling a certain way, same words, but I'm feeling a certain way and emotionally I am emoting something different. And the audience feels something completely different from my performance than the next night and the next night, where they're completely different. And even when critics write their critiques and say, whoa, this is what I felt, and this is what I saw, completely different than another. You can't control what the audience is going to see and feel. So if you can let that go, then we're starting to move forward. So that's another checklist item, right? Check. And then we come back to why you are even up there in the first place. And that why is your passion. It's your dream. It's your belief. And so when I was talking to this very, very strong, very professional woman, everything she was saying, all of the facts she was presenting, all of the statements were backed by facts and backed by statistics. And then I asked her, but why are you even telling us this? What's important about these statistics? And as I kept pulling further and further down on that, I started to see a little bit of a light come on. And that was where I saw that passion coming back up. And the passion then ignited, and everyone, all of the women could see it. And we could see that she had a deeper underlying passion in there. She took an entire weekend off to train to be able to prepare this and present this presentation in such a way that people would hear and take notice. So there was something important backing this up. When we got to that, it was as if she just transformed into someone we could all relate to all of a sudden, and we became more connected with this person. So as an example, when she was ready and she had scheduled herself to be the very last one to give the presentation. So everyone had given their presentations, and she had an 18-minute presentation. She was the final gal. And I took her backstage, and before she got on stage, I told her, okay, you've done the planning, you've done the preparation, you've done the practicing, you've taken all these steps, you know what you need to do. And you know what you need to say. But I said, I want you to just forget all of that. What? Yes, forget all of that. And I want you to connect with your heart, and I want you to tell us from the deepest, most pure place that you're coming from, why we need to hear this, why you believe in this, why this is important to you. And do you know that when she went out there, it took her a little bit of a fit and start there, but then there was this shift that happened, and you could feel it, not only within her, but within the room. I get goosebumps thinking about it because all of us felt it. And we were laughing with her and crying with her. This was not scripted. This was not prepared, and it could not have been scripted or prepared, because she all of a sudden was connected to her passion and her truth and her heart. And she communicated from that way. And as a result, she was able to passionately communicate her message. And it was so powerful that the room gave her a standing ovation. Spontaneously, not prepared, not canned, but spontaneously. And that's what I want for you. That's what I want for all of my clients I work with. This idea, this passion within me, that we all have our own voice and our own passion and our own heart that needs to speak freely. There is the part that we have to have clarity, and we have to practice, and we have to get clear on what we want to say and how we're going to say it and all of that, and that's great. And those are the pieces that are the mechanics. So I work on that with you, and we work on it enough so that you have the confidence, but without putting out that fire, without dousing that passion that's within you. And sometimes we need to rekindle it. Sometimes it's been buried for so long that we have forgotten. But I believe that it's within you. And I like uncovering that. That's almost part of that's part of what I do, and that's part of the magic as a coach that I can do, is to help rekindle that. So I wanted to share that story. It was a pretty neat story, and I thought I would share it with you as far as like communicating it, as opposed to me writing it in my blog post. So I'm going to send this video out now. I'm going to say to you that if you want to never have them see you sweat, then connect them to your heart and connect from your heart. And the last thing that they will be thinking of, and the last thing you will be thinking of, is dripping sweat. One, it probably won't even happen. And if it does, you're not going to care because you're so passionate about what you have to say. I don't mean you have to be dramatic and all over the place, but passion can come from a depth without having all the drama. I happen to have an acting background, so sometimes I get a little dramatic. But you can also, you feel that and you see that when someone communicates from their heart. And that's the difference. That's the difference when we come from that place that we truly believe in within us, because we're all seeking that. We're all searching for that. And we're all looking for the acknowledgement of our own truth. And when we see that in another, and they're standing in their truth so beautifully and so immaculately, it reflects back to us and allows us to step up and to unfold and to shine our light. So give permission to yourself, give permission to others, and step up and stand in your light. I'm Stephana Johnson. You're listening to Stephana Speaks. You can find me at stephanajohnson.com. I love to hear from my viewers. And until next time, peace and blessings.